got some news. So, this actually came out yesterday, and I forgot to go over it. There has been an update to what we know publicly on Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons Strike missions. So, I have not read this all the way through. I thought it'd be funner to read it on air with you guys and say my thoughts live. So, we are going to go over this now. Let's dive into it. Hi all, I'm Cameron Rich, lead for the Encounters design team here at ArenaNet. The Encounters team is responsible for the PvE encounter experiences in Guild Wars 2, including designing and balancing all our new creatures, armies, bosses, and instanced content. Quick pause there. They announced earlier that we would be getting strikes, and those strikes would have challenge modes. They have not made any public announcements that I know of yet about fractals, dungeons, or raids. However, the existing strikes already in the game don't have challenge mode, so it is assumed that the challenge mode strikes are meant to replace raids in some fashion. GW2 End of Dragons is on the horizon, bringing with it a series of new strike missions that aim to provide accessible, challenging combat experience for players to chew on. Since this content was first revealed during the expansion announcement livestream on July 27th, we have been listening to all of your comments, questions, and concerns regarding strike missions and endgame PvE content as a whole. Today, we'll share our vision for strike missions as a game mode and provide a deeper look at what you can expect when Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons ships next February, including a look at both difficulty modes and changes to the reward structure. Let's jump into it. Accessible endgame. Players looking for endgame instance PvE experiences in GW2 will find a wide range of challenges to test their skills and fractals of the missed strike missions and raids. Getting started in this world of challenging group content can be daunting, especially if you're looking to climb the difficulty ladder and take on the toughest encounters the game has to offer, so where do you start? The answer to that question is, of course, mucklucklabs.com. I'm kidding, but it's really tempting. Normal difficulty strike missions are intended to be an entry point into the world of 10-player content in Guild Wars 2. These instances are designed to be something that you can tackle alongside both close friends and new allies, pitting you and 9 others against jazzed up, remixed versions of epic, exciting bosses from the GW2 EOD story. Jazzed up remixed. If their background music is not remixed, I'm gonna be disappointed. This gives every player the opportunity to experience these encounters as key story moments, while enabling each strike mission to hold greater importance in the overall narrative. These encounters will introduce you to the mechanics you'll need to learn and master in order to continue your journey in an environment that doesn't demand perfection but still pushes you to learn and grow your combat capabilities. By the time you've completed each strike mission, you'll be familiar with encounter terms like fixates, attack and stack and spread, kiting, and more. Our goal is that once you've got a firm grasp of the fundamentals, you should feel confident tackling the next steps on the difficulty ladder, including a much requested addition to strike missions, Strikes 2.0, now with challenge mode. You heard it right on the End of Dragons First Look livestream. Challenge mode difficulty is coming in Guild Wars 2 EOD strike missions. Challenge modes take the normal difficulty strike missions and further expands on their mechanics. Remixing them, why do they keep saying remixing? Remixing them into even further to create even greater challenges while introducing new surprises that keep players on their toes. To pause here, it talks about teaching you stack and spread, kiting, and more stuff like that. I wonder, when they say teaches you, like, I wonder if you do it on normal mode, are they gonna have pop-ups? Like, Billy Bob, you're fixated, get away from us. You know, like, is there gonna be like pop-up text or something? I feel like if you take 10 brand new players that have never seen a fixate mechanic and throw them into a raid with a fixate mechanic and it never explains it anywhere, there's gonna be a bunch of wipes. So, we'll see. Each challenge mode strike mission is designed with a specific level of challenge in mind, creating a clear difficulty ramp that will push you forward and continually test your coordination and mastery over the combat system. You'll need to work with your allies to form and execute a plan of action and be quick to react to overcome these toughened up encounters. More succinctly, these encounters will feel like proper raid bosses. Alright, that's the first time they've just come out and said it. So strike mission challenge modes are meant to feel like raid bosses. To ensure these fights live up to the challenge mode name, we set out from the beginning to design each encounter in a top-down fashion, starting with an outline of how challenge mode would play out. We began by detailing unique mechanics, estimating time to kill, and damage thresholds players need to meet in order to succeed. Oh boy, DPS checks. And identifying clear roles required for each player in the squad. Once we had a firm grasp on the challenge mode experience, we dialed in the difficulty for normal and story mode through designing it by subtraction, paring down the most difficult aspects of the encounter and focusing on the skills and abilities we wanted players to learn and master to grow their capabilities as a player. Through this method, more players can engage with the content we build at a difficulty level they feel is comfortable. That is how we approach the design for challenge mode, fractals, and raids, so if you're familiar with that content, consider them a good reference point. Challenge modes will be enabled in the weeks after the Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons launch. Okay, so it won't be available on launch day. But honestly, I'm okay with that, because if these are going to be bosses from the story, if it was available on launch day, we would have to choose on launch day, do we get spoilered from the story and do strikes immediately, or do we do the story first? So this, you don't have to make that choice. It will be enabled in the weeks after the GW2 EOD launch, allowing you time to enjoy your story and world at your own pace, get familiarized with normal mode strikes. Oh, normal mode strikes will be available right away, okay. And perfect your builds, especially with the 9 new elite specs. The team is eagerly looking forward to watching the player base tackle these new challenges. We'll give more precise details on when you can expect challenge modes to release as we get closer to launch day. Standardizing shinies. When we first introduced strike missions in the Icebrood Saga, we took the opportunity to try a new reward system with the weekly chest and attempted to create a week-to-week cycle to encourage players to return to strike missions on a regular basis. However, the system missed the intended mark. I mean, I think it's okay. Using too many currencies and causing confusion around how to deal with them. So we're returning to basics that our raid players will find familiar. Strike missions in EOD End of Dragons will award a single currency. Okay, stop. Right there. Legendary Insights and Legendary Divinations. There's 2 right there. I get what they're going for here, but there's not just 1 for raids. End of Dragon strike missions you complete will reward currency to be spent on strike mission specific rewards, including any unique drops from the strike missions. You won't be beholden to the fickle fate of random number generation to get what you want. Additionally, we'll be consolidating the strike mission currencies introduced in the Icebrood Saga into 1 currency with no weekly cycle. So does that mean all of the red, green, and blue profit shards are just going to combine? You'll be able to trade in your End of Dragons mission currency for the Icebrood Saga strike mission currency, so you can easily go back for older rewards you may have missed while still being able to play the latest and greatest challenges. Oh, that's kind of cool. So that means bare minimum, guys, you can use the EOD strikes to get full ascended. Okay? Because right now, you can use current day strikes to get full ascended gear. It just takes a long time. If you can trade EOD currency for existing strike currency, that means in addition to whatever's there, you can get full ascended from it. Until next time, as always, thank you for your candid feedback and your continued support. Your shared perspectives help ground us and shape the game for the better. After all, Guild Wars 2 would not be where it is today without you. Son Cameron and the Guild Wars 2 team. What about the shards and crystals I have right now? I mean, it sounds like it's going to be similar to with raids. You can trade a legendary divination to make a legendary insight, but I don't think you could go back the other way. Or if you can, there was a limited number of times. I haven't needed to do that in ages. The weapons were core stats, though. But you can use the Mystic Forge to change the stats on ascended equipment. So even if you get a core stat weapon, the important thing is, do you have an ascended weapon? Because you could stat change it. Do fractals, you can fully equip a character in no time. Matsu, I believe that fractals are the easiest way to farm new ascended gear, but they're not the easiest way to get your first set of ascended gear because of agony resistance. Because if you don't have agony resistance, which means you need ascended gear, you can't do many fractals in the first place. But you are correct that the drop rate of ascended gear there is incredible, as shown by this section of my bank. Yeah, that's awesome, and that's the first time they've really come out and said the details. So, looking forward to seeing how that goes. The main thing I hope about this... I love strike missions. Okay, let me show something just to prove that I'm not just like making this up. All right, here's my profit shards. I have almost 2,500 profit shards of all 3 colors. I do a lot of strikes. I honestly enjoy it. It's great. I could just grab 9 people from chat, and I could just jump in there, and I can play support, which is one of my favorite roles, and it pays well. The money's good, okay? I do a lot of mucking strikes, all right? I know what I'm talking about with this. My biggest concern that could be interpreted as negative is I hope they have people that continue to work on the strikes after they're out. Bone Skinner had some bugs on day 1. About half of them were fixed within a week or 2 because it was overtuned. The other half have never been fixed. Whisper of Jormag has had like 7 different bugs since day 1, and 0 of them have ever been fixed. Most of the other strikes are fine. The bears are fine. The ice guy is fine. Both the ice guys are fine. The tank one, it functions fine, but it takes an eternity, so I never do it. That's the only one I never do because it takes too long. But Whisper of Jormag and Bone Skinner have had bugs with them, like massive game-breaking bugs. Like we have to wipe and do it again if this bug happens, since day mucking 1. And I still love the content, as shown by how many thousands of times I've done it. I really hope they don't do a thing where they release it and then just abandon it. That would be my small fear. Time will tell. I may be jumping the gun here, but I'm just speaking, based on the experiences I've had. We'll see how it goes.